right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning, everybody. Kim here, talking about scaling ad campaigns. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this and talk about this topic specifically is because there has been a lot of talk lately that I've seen across the board in all areas where people are talking about ads not working, they kind of work, the campaign's not working, they work for a little bit and then they stop. And the big reason why I see that happen and how I see that happen is a lot of people don't do validation before they go in and amplify things. So what I mean by that is when people go out there, right, and they start launching campaigns, what they tend to do is they will go and they hear that they have to have a funnel, they hear that they have to have specific ads in place, they'll hear all these different things that they have to do, and that's just not the case, right? There's a more effective way to go about it. Now, what is a more effective way? What is a more succinct way of doing this? Is doing validation, then amplification. Because why should we as business owners spend all this time, all this effort putting together a funnel, email follow-up series, all these different key components? Like, why should we be doing that before we've actually validated that the offer that we have is effective, that the offer that we have actually works? And this is why I believe is that you can still get phenomenal results when it comes to you live in the car. You can still get phenomenal results when it comes to your ads. You can still get phenomenal results when it comes to the specifics of what you're doing. Now, the way that you need to go about this is first launching a validation campaign, right? Because we need to validate our offer. We need to validate that this works. Now, the most effective way, obviously, first is you have to do your research, right? Before we jump in, I'll tell you the exact type of campaign to run for this, but you do need to do your research. You do need to identify and understand. We call it the NOC method, which is you need to understand your niche, you need to understand your offer, and you need to understand and be able to articulate via your copy who it is that you work with, right? Those three little letters. And if there's ever a campaign that's not working, the niche, the offer, the copy are the only three areas that need to be assessed, right? That need to be assessed. So if you understand your niche, right, and if you have a decent offer, I'm not talking about the offer that you sell, I'm talking about the offer, the specifics around what it is that you do and how you help people, which is the most important, right? The offer of what you do and how you help people. And you can articulate that to them in a way that enables them and encourages them to take action and do things, then you're going to be set up for success, right? Then you're going to be set up for success. Now, I'm curious, who is the niche that you serve, right? Just out of curiosity, I'm curious to see if you guys know your niche, because if you know that, then you can do and you can run an effective validation campaign. If you don't, it's going to make it relatively hard for you, right? It's going to make it relatively hard for you. We've got a few coming in on each platform, graphic design. So you're going to need to get even more specific. Who do you do graphic design for? Now, if you don't and you aren't clear on your niche, a good little framework to think of, and a lot of people sometimes get, I was not say scared or afraid when it comes to niching down, but they feel like I'm telling them that you can't work with anyone else, right? And they get a bit worried and they get a little bit, they're like, oh, like, but what about, I want to work with all types of people. Now, what I want you to think about when it comes to niching down on your offer is this is your niche for the marketing campaign that you're going to run, which means that we're going to have more effective ad spend, which means we're going to have a better cost per impression, cost per lead, all those key components, which is what's most important. So if you don't have and you don't know what your niche is, something to think about is choose a gender, right? I know we're in a world of gender fluidity and all that sort of stuff, but choose, because we can target male, female, right? Choose one. Choose a age demographic. Might be 18 to 28, might be 28 to 38. So if you're like Muhammad and you do graphic design, it's like, great, I do graphic design for maybe female-led businesses, male-led businesses, or for IT companies, or like very, very specifically, like, who is it that you do this for? Who is it that you serve? Who is it that you help? And once you've got that really, really lined up and you know, okay, great, this is the type of person that I help, right? And we know the demographics of them, we know the psychographics, what they think about. So you want to know demographic factors, geographic factors, where do they live, what city are they in? Again, just going for anyone everywhere is a very broad brushstroke, right? We're just like, that's just like chucking paint against the wall and seeing what sticks. That's not what our goal is. Our goal is to be very specific in who we work with so that we can have a very targeted campaign that when it comes to our copy and articulating what it is that we do, it becomes much easier. It's real hard to walk into a room full of ladies that say you were selling red dresses and sell the same dress to an 18-year-old, a 28-year-old, a 38-year-old, a 48-year-old, a 58-year-old. Almost impossible. They all have different desires, different needs, different wants, and that's not what we need or want for you guys. We want me to be specific with our ad campaigns because we can be, right? Facebook has over 1 million points of data on every single person, over 1 million points of data. So we may as well use them to our advantage, right? Yes, we can be worried about our data, stress, overwhelm, all those sorts of things, but, right, if we get very specific, if we understand exactly who we want to work with, it's going to make our copywriting process even easier. So once we've identified our niche, then we can move on to our offer. And again, our offer when it comes to our ads is not being like, hey, here's something that you can buy from me. Hey, here is my thing to purchase. Like that is an offer, yes, but your offer when it comes to your Facebook ads, and what I'm referencing here is what specifically is it that we have where we can go, all right, great. I am going to put in my details. I'm going to click across because the only goal of your ad, the only goal that your ad has is to sell a click, is to get someone to take that one next step, right? If it was a billboard or a TV ad or a radio ad, it might be to actually get someone to call, right? Or to go to a website or whatever it might be. But for you guys, if you're running Facebook ads and Instagram ads specifically, the goal is going to be, right? The goal is going to be for you to get them to take that next step of a click, whether that's to fill in their details, whether that's to go and check out the website, whatever it might be. That is the only goal that we have, right? That's the only goal that we have. That's the only thing that we want to do. And if we do that effectively, we know that we're going to be able to get them to take that next step with us, right? Which is the O, which is the offer. Then the next, the C is copywriting, right? Niche, offer, copy. Now, again, a lot of people get confused on the word with copy and copywriting. How do I know? We've been trying to recruit a copywriter. And I can tell you the applications that we had come through were vast and varied, right? We've had people from the likes of journalists. We've had people that are direct response copywriters. We've had all different types of people come through, right? And for me, like, yes, each and every single one of them is awesome and great, and that's cool. But we want direct response. We don't want journalists. I don't want people that are website copywriters. I want people that are specific, that can write copy to encourage and enable a direct response, right? Direct response copywriting. That's what we're chasing. So for me, that's the most important thing, is being able to articulate what it is that you do in a way to encourage someone to take and make a response, take and make and do something. So if you can do that effectively, right, hugely, hugely powerful. So we need to be able to articulate what we do better than anyone else. Ideally, what you want to see and have the experience of is them going, they understand my problems better than anyone else. They just articulated my problems better than anyone else, right? Simply the best, better than all the rest. That's what we're looking for. That's the attention that we want to have. That's the intention that we need to have when we want to write our ads. So generally speaking, there's many different frameworks. If you want a framework for writing copy, let me know. We've got a perfect ad template. We provide that out for free. So if you need help with that, just let us know from that perspective. But if you, as I said, the NOC method, understanding that, taking that across every single campaign that you do, I don't care if you run TV, radio, newspaper, digital, anywhere, it works. So if you understand it, you can understand how to use it effectively, you're going to have a good time, a much better time, right, than otherwise. So I hugely and hugely recommend it and highly recommend that you do and understand that. Because then what we can do, if we understand our niche, our offer, and our copy, then we can create a campaign that validates our offer, that validates that we have that correct. Because again, you don't want to go and build a crazy funnel. You don't want to go and write all these million emails and all these ads, spend all this time, energy, and effort on something if you don't know that it's going to work, right? We need to test it. And hence why I am a huge advocate of testing these campaigns and validating the offer, hence validation, then going on to amplification, right? Validation, then amplification. Validate first, then amplify. And if you do that properly, it means that you're going to save many dollars, right? And you'll be able to get many more results than you could otherwise. So how do you validate that? Good question. Now, once you've been able to identify your niche, your offer, your copy, right? Once you've been able to do that from that perspective, then what comes next is creating the ad type. So what we want to do next, right, is we need to create the campaign type. Generally, these would be put in the, so Facebook labels all their campaign types differently. They've just completely redone them all. So I normally say like this is a consideration type campaign, but again, they've just completely changed it. They've completely messed things up from that perspective. They've changed the way that they label them, changed the way that they identify them, which is cool. It's for their platform. They can do what they want, right? But what we want to do, what we're looking to do is be able to create something where we can test the market, right? Now that we know our niche offer copy, and the best types of campaigns are ones where we can interact with people. So from my perspective, one of the best ones is a lead form or a lead generation ad. Now you can choose to capture their details, their name, email, phone number. You can choose to send them to Messenger or Instagram DMs to chat to. I don't really mind which one of those two that you would use, but they are the most effective to validate your offer. So we know because, number one, they have to give us details or they have to start a conversation with us. And then you can see and identify, are they the right type of person? Are they the most effective type of person? Is your ideal client coming through? Because a lot of people, again, they go, oh, I get rubbish leads. And it's like, well, all the leads are rubbish. None of them want to work with you. In which case, you're probably targeting the wrong niche. You're probably putting out the wrong offer, or your copy is wrong. Again, only one of the three things that can be incorrect in the campaign. Very, very simple. And this is the same. If someone comes to me and they're spending $1,000, $2,000 a day on their ads, first thing I look at, and they're like, oh, I have a problem with this or that. I'm like, cool. Let me look at your niche, your offer, your copy. I'll see exactly what you're doing, see what's working, what's not working, and we'll be able to fix it. It's the first thing that I do, right? There you go. Can do an ad account review. I go through and look at all those things. Generally speaking, one of those three things is wrong. If someone's spending a lot, or even they're spending a little, even if someone's spending $10 a day, but they're not getting results, one of those things is not going to be in alignment. Now, do you have to spend that crazy amount of money? No, you don't have to spend. You can spend $5 a day, $10 a day. You can spend whatever it is that you want. From that perspective on your ads, it doesn't really matter as long as you're testing and verifying the offer in the marketplace. Then you can move on to the next step, right, which is amplification. But only once, my personal preference is we need to have a consistent flow of leads coming through at the validation level. Then we can move on to amplification. My ideal scenario is you need to get 1, 2, 3 sales. Why do you guys think? Why do you guys think 3 sales is important? The reason why 3 is because 1 is the first port of call. 2, I mean, again, you could fall over 2 sales. And Sahil's got it right there, right? Validation, market fit, making sure it's correct. 3 is to me is proven. You know what I mean? Anyone can fall over 1 sale relatively easily. 2 is like, oh, could have been a fluke. 3 is like, okay, great, we've got it now. Like it's like that's why it's called a validation campaign, right? Before you go into amplification, to make sure that it's correct. Then we can go out and start pouring the dollars in. Then we can spend, hundreds and thousands of dollars a day in the amplification phase. Once we've verified that it all works, once we've verified that it is all spot on, right? We do that all the time. So one of my team will be like, hey, we want to launch a campaign for X or for Y or whatever it might be. I'm like, cool, launch lead ads first. Test the angles, see what gets the best response, see what gets the cheapest leads, see what gets the best quality leads. Then we go into amplification. And we haven't built a crazy funnel. We haven't built a crazy webinar. We haven't had to go and do all this crazy stuff because we've been testing the angles. Yes, we might be giving away a resource or something like that from that perspective, but we haven't had to go and spend all this time, energy, effort, money from our team's perspective before we actually know what works. Then once we know what works, then we can go to town on amplification. Then we can go and build out the webinars, right? You can write the webinar copy, whether it's long or short form. Then you can go and test out all the emails, all the back-end emails. Then you can test out your SMS follow-up. Then you can test out all the different front-end ad angles, right? Then you can go and do all the different key components that you need to do. Once you have validation that it works, then we amplify. Then we start to add on other ad channels, right? Then we can go from just Facebook and Instagram, and then we can be cool, very specific Instagram campaigns as well as Facebook. Then we can go on and do very specific TikTok campaigns. Then we can go and do specific retargeting campaigns. But what everyone tries to do They have this big, perfect idea in their head of what their campaign is going to be like. They're like, great, I need to do this funnel, I need to do these ads, I need to do these emails, we're going to do this, and we're going to launch it here, 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 and here. And that's pointless, right? It's absolutely pointless because you don't know yet that you have the right offer. You don't have the right message to market match. And this is where most people, it's like, Russell Brunson will say you're only one funnel away, right? Really, he should say you're only one validation campaign away from having the best ads, having the best business, having the best offers. Because again, if you test, and again, I have campaigns that are still in validation phase. I'm getting at the moment 12, 13 leads a day on it, right? 13 leads a day. I still haven't seen enough data and back-end sale data for me to go into amplification mode. Still haven't seen the best way for me to weave it through yet, but it's coming along. Right? And it's getting me, 300-400 leads a month. It works because I'm taking the time to get all the information I need, and then I'll also go on those ads and I'll read the comments, see what people are saying, see what information is coming through, see what they're thinking, what they're worrying about. What, like if they're calling me a scammer, which probably if you're running ads, they're probably gonna put some hate on you, right? Get it all the time. Got people booking in calls that don't like me, right? They'll come through our funnel. They'll not only just opt in, but they'll book a call, right? Because again, they can hate as much as they want, but they're there to copy my stuff, right? If I'm so bad, don't opt into my ads. Don't opt into my call funnel. Don't go and register for a call, and obviously you're not going to show up because you just want to see all my stuff, which is cool. I have no qualms in that. But yeah, very interesting stuff. So again, once you've validated with your NOC method, then you can amplify. Only then do you need to worry about building out funnels, webinars, VSLs, blah, 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 blah. Only then. Up until that point, all you need to do is be consistently good, right? Provide consistent value on the front end, test all the angles, then you can go and amplify, then you can go and build it out, then you can go worry about your funnels. And again, we do this with clients. Doesn't matter if they're selling a $500 product or a $50,000 product. We take them through the same process. We validate first, find out the right message to market match, find out the best combination of copy and creative, then we scale things. Then we go and build out a full webinar, funnel, backend, email sequences, all that fun stuff. But until that point, there's no point because we don't know and we haven't validated it yet, right? And of course, if you ever need help with any of that, you all know where we are, right? If you need any help, just put a hashtag help. If you need help to identify these things, so we've got plenty of free resources, plenty of things that we can help you guys out with from any perspective there to grow your business, increase your ad performance, get better ad performance, scale it, all that fun stuff, right? Nice and easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl. That's it for today. That's all I wanted to cover off on. As always, every week providing massive value as much as we can. If there's any topics you want us to cover specifically from your ads perspective, from a marketing perspective, we've been doing this now for 8 years as a business. I've been doing this for 18 years as an individual from a marketing perspective. So most things when it comes to digital marketing, we have a pretty good understanding of, right? We've been around the block a few times. So if you need help, as I say, just comment down below. We'll be more than happy to help you out. And if there's anything you want me to cover off on for next week, as I say, every Wednesday, we are live. Actually, next week will likely be me and maybe Kenny B might be on with us next week because we have our mastermind coming up. So that's going to be good fun. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, keep your eyes peeled next week and you'll see. But until then, guys, I'm Kim. Y'all have been awesome. Appreciate you all tuning in. Adios, and I will see you next time.